Hey, welcome back. I'm Alex, and in this video lesson, we're going to talk about the 3 biggest mistakes that I see being made all the time in email marketing and how you can avoid making them yourself. Because while we all want to monetize our email lists or our clients' email lists, if you're making any of these mistakes, you won't get very far. So let's dive in to the very first mistake that I see being made all the time, and that is mistake number 1, pushy marketing. So what I mean by pushy marketing is, and I see this happen all the time with people who don't really understand marketing, and they're thinking, okay, I have a product to sell and I have an audience, so I just need to shamelessly sell my products and just keep pitching over and over and over again. Listen, if all you're saying is buy my stuff, you really run out of creative inspiration and things to write emails about. And I hear this all the time from my students who are, say, writing ads or writing emails. They think, what can I talk about, right? Like, I'm trying to sell my product, so I'm trying to think of a million different ways to say buy my product. And I always say, you're focusing on the product. Rather than focusing on the product, focus on your audience. Focus on who you are helping, right? Now, the real clear distinction I want to make here is that there is absolutely nothing wrong with selling. I love sales. Sales are fun. Sales make you money. Money is awesome. Money helps you solve problems. Money can make the world go round, right? I absolutely love that. But there is a really clear difference between pushy marketing and what I call persuasive marketing, all right? And they both are sales, but one is done in a really powerful way that speaks to the audience and meets them where they are at, right? And then the other one is like, I don't know, just buy my shit, buy my stuff. Can I swear? Oops, sorry. So let's do a quick distinction of my definition of both of those, right? Pushy marketing, it leads with the offer, right? It pushes the sale before really any sort of rapport or trust is built. And hey, if you have a really great offer, that might work, but it might not. And if it doesn't, chances are you are barking up the wrong tree. Your audience is like, whoa, I don't even know you, right? And maybe I know you, but I don't really like or trust you yet. And that is a really common theme that you hear, talked about in the email marketing community. Building up that know, like, and trust factor is so important. And so persuasive marketing, on the other hand, right, doesn't lead with the offer, it leads with the customer. It's understanding your customer and valuing their time and experience with their brand. And so a lot of that really has to do with knowing who they are, what they struggle with, what are their drives, their values, their desires, and how can you as an email marketer meet them where they are at, give value, and then pivot to the offer in a way that actually doesn't feel pushy. It just feels really natural because, we're not hiding the fact that we're selling anything, but we're making it clear that, hey, maybe there's another way to present this offer that feels more in alignment with who your audience is, right? So in my mind, and again, this is my email marketing philosophy, I really do believe that every single email you send should have of course, primary goal of making a sale if it is a sales campaign. And of course, that's what we're going to be talking about later in this course. But it really is in building a genuine relationship with your readers and engaging authentically with them. You can tell stories, you can share content, you can share anecdotes, you can, reveal secrets of what you've learned in your life and business that have helped you overcome XYZ in terms of problems, if that's related to what you're selling. But really solving those deep-rooted pain points and addressing them is a very powerful, very powerful way to go about your email marketing. Now, as I mentioned in video 1, there is that, disclaimer, exception, that there are some product-centric brands out there that focus less on relationship building and more on straight selling, and that is okay if that is their strategy, right? If it's truly direct response marketing, we don't care about long-term relationship, we want them to buy now or unsubscribe, and that's fine. If you are in the camp of like churn and burn, as it's called, or buy or unsubscribe because we need to monetize on the front end ASAP, that's, again, totally fine. But if you are in the long game, if you are writing for a business that has a long ascension model, that has higher level products that require that rapport, that trust, then it's really important that you are being more customer centric. You want repeat customers, you want long-term customers, and you want your customers to think of you when it comes to buying something that's going to help them solve their problems. All right? So that's one clear distinction that I wanted to make. And of course, as a business owner, you'll know what works best in your business. As a copywriter, it'll differ between your clients. And so it's good to just ask those questions and say, well, what works for you? What is your business model? What does this look like? Now, the second mistake that I see, and this one's related to the first, but not nurturing your list. So you cannot just email your list during launches and promotions when you have something to sell. That is a really, really surefire way to get people to unsubscribe and think, you know what, this person doesn't really add any value in the inbox. Why am I going to stay on this list? And it'll happen a lot where I'll start working with clients and they'll go, okay, great, we want to do a launch. And I go, great, when's the last time you've communicated with your email list? We don't really. Oh, so you don't send content, you don't build value, you don't create trust in the inbox? No, not really. And so again, as a copywriter, that's something you should really be asking your clients, because frequency of emails should be regular enough that you're providing value on a consistent basis so that when you do go do a launch or campaign, it doesn't feel like it's coming out of the blue, because you will get so many unsubscribes in that scenario. So if you do that, you won't have any rapport or trust, like I said, and you cannot and should not underestimate the importance of really nurturing. And so I, for example, send one email a week minimum to my list that is just 100% content, adding value right there in the inbox. Many of the amazing email marketers that I follow do the exact same thing. Again, it is relationship building at its finest. Oftentimes, those emails don't even have a clickable call to action. And that's okay, right? I love to reference Frank Kern. He talked about this concept of a goodwill bank account. And when you are emailing your list asking for something, you are taking money out of that goodwill bank account. And when you share value and content, you are putting money in. So if all you are doing is take, that goodwill goes way down through the floorboards, and it can be really, really hard to gain that trust back. So just make sure you are really taking into consideration the relationship with the list. And if you are a copywriter who is starting to work with a new client who, let's say, wants to do a launch, perhaps this can be also something that you offer. Content emails can be really fun to write. They can be rooted in story and value, and they're, you can color outside the lines. There's no right or wrong format for a content email, and so it can be really, really great. All of your emails are important, right? I might argue that your content emails are just as important as your sales emails, because of that balance that you want to create inside the goodwill bank account, if you will. So for those of you who are wondering, okay, how do I go about nurturing a relationship with a list? My advice is choose a schedule and stick with it. It doesn't have to be every day. I'm on email lists that email every single day. And I'm like, how do they come up with content every single day for that? I don't email my list every single day. I email my list once a week, like I said, when it comes to content. But whatever works for you or your client, stick with it. Maybe it's even once a month to start if that's all you can do. But people trust consistency. So let's use the example of a podcast. When you're listening to a podcast and you really get into it, and then, podcast day where a new episode is usually released comes up, what happens when there's no episode? You're like, what? I was so looking forward to that. I always listen to it on my drive to work or when I'm going to pick up my kids from school. And that lack of consistency can really help break the trust. And so it's really the same principle applies to email marketing as well. Choose a schedule and stick with it, all right? Now, mistake number 3 is sending fancy and impersonal emails. Now listen, I know, I get a lot of flack about this because so many email sending tools have all of these beautiful templates with all these colors and images, right? And I think those are great. I think those work well for certain e-commerce brands where you want to have that level of upfront branding and presence in the inbox. But the majority, and there's a study, and I can link to that in the slides here, the majority of consumers actually prefer simple text-based emails, like the ones you would get from a friend. And that's so important to remember. And it's good news for us copywriters and entrepreneurs and business owners, because HTML emails can take a long time to customize. They can be really finicky. They can be difficult and unreliable. Sometimes images don't load. Have you ever opened an HTML email in your inbox and the images don't load, right? And by the way, when I'm talking about HTML emails, I'm talking about those really pretty fancy ones, like ones you might get from big brand names like Airbnb or Starbucks or Sephora, right? They have a lot of images. There's like a lot going on. They're beautiful. They look like beautiful flyers, but they're more likely to end up in the spam folder. And oftentimes, these emails have no unique brand voice or human-to-human connection. The copy is also pretty sporadic. It doesn't read like one, consistent email from greeting all the way to sign off with a PS line. So you often don't know which to read first. I think that they work fine for newsletters or, again, e-commerce brands where you're showing a whole bunch of new products that are now available. But when it comes to really true, email marketing to build relationships with your list, I am a big fan of simple, black text, white background. You can definitely throw in some images here and there, but absolutely just simple, beautiful emails. So I would say avoid fancy HTML emails. Send your emails from a real person. So again, if you're writing from a brand or a business where there really isn't a personality, okay, that's fine. But if you are writing from a personality-based business, of course you want it to come from a real person. It's just you're way more likely to read an email when you see the from name in your inbox as a person rather than a brand, right? Or I know, at least for me, when I wake up in the morning and I have 100 emails in my inbox, I do like the mad swipe through just to, call and clear out the ones I don't want to read. And it's all the ones that come from brand names that I really just don't have. I'm like, I don't have time for this today. I need to go straight into the ones that are more personal. So make your copywriting as personal as possible, as if you are writing to a friend. That is my favorite rule. Now, of course, I'm going to say this. I am not saying HTML emails are the devil and that you should never use them. Think about what works best for your brand, the brand you're writing for, because chances are personal text-based emails will in fact work better. So that actually leads me to one of my favorite analogies. It's the pile A versus pile B analogy. And this actually comes from the one and only greatest legendary copywriter of all time, Gary Halpert, right? So he's a direct response marketer and copywriter who started in the offline marketing and direct mail world, but everything that he taught in direct response marketing and direct mail still 100% applies to online marketing today. And I think that's why I love this analogy so much. So it was first referenced, just if any of you want to go look it up, in his June 22nd, 1984 Boron Letters, chapter 11, this idea between pile A and pile B, where when you get mail, this happens every day for me, you get mail in your mailbox, and there are the shiny, glossy flyers and junk mail and promotional stuff that you get. And then there are the letters that look like they're handwritten. They come from a friend. You're thinking, oh my gosh, someone actually sent me mail, right? There might actually be a pile C, which is like bills, but we just won't talk about that right now. But I know for me, pile A, the personalized letters, the ones that I go, oh my gosh, this has my name handwritten on it. Those are the ones that I set aside. And pile B, all those like colorful flyer type of ones, that goes straight into the recycling bin because I don't want to read them. Well, guess what? The same applies to your inbox. Just as I mentioned earlier, when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, nope, 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 what I'm doing is I'm very quickly identifying the pile B. So how do you get, this is the big question, how do you get into somebody's pile A? How do you, as a copywriter, a business owner, a marketer who's sending emails to your list, get into pile A so that your audience not only enjoys hearing from you, but is actually looking forward to hearing from you and opening and reading your emails, which of course ultimately will drive more business, more sales, more conversions down the road. Well, we are going to be talking all about that later in this course, and I will see you in my next video where I talk about the power of email and list monetization. So I will see you there. Ciao for now.